Lee, thank you very much for joining in and discussing the importance of project delivery and governance for another episode of our lockdown series. So appreciate your time and comments. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Simon.
So to kick things off, then I really want to get your view on why it's important for an organisation to have an independent sort of project delivery team, because I'm sure there's people out there that may have individuals that are perfectly capable leaders, and they might be almost compelled to kind of just throw them a bit of a project. But I'm pretty certain there's some rationale as to why you need to sort of break out the two.
Yeah. So I mean, we're in an ever-changing world. Right. Organisations have increasingly complex needs. They've got high demands to get to and remain at the top of their game, and frequently with less and less cash. That's today's society. So in the ups and downs of trading, a business needs to adapt to the market conditions, grab low-hanging fruit when times are bad, and then reach for the cloud when in the good times. So I guess if you look at the last, say, 50 years, UK has seen a raft of political and financial turmoil. Okay, so from the 1970s, where we had the oil crisis, inefficient manufacturing, being unable to keep up with the times. The early 80s, we had a boom. But then we saw spending cuts, unemployment at almost 12%, and a general movement of industry shifting away from the manufacturing and moving towards service industry. Okay. Then 1990s, rising inflation, high interest, and of course Black Wednesday. Yeah. Then there was financial crisis of the late 2000s. 2008 saw the deepest recession the UK has ever seen since the Second World War. The collapse of banking and the knock-on effects across the country, and of course now. In 2020, we've got the unprecedented event of COVID-19 and an absolute global lockdown. Okay, so these are, of course, extremes in market condition, and most likely out of control of individual businesses. But every organisation has its own challenges, day to day, week on week, year after year. New competitors, technology, innovation, regulation change, and a third for faster routes to market. To name just a few influences. And that's without internal change in management, strategy, organisational structure, new customers, and efficiency drives, all of which sway the needs and the dynamic of a business. Okay, so with an ever-changing world, what do we need? So as we reflected on the last 50 years, PMO has also evolved. Okay, providing short-term support for individual projects, like you were just saying, we've got someone with good leadership, throw them in. Then common departmentalised PMOs to govern things like an IT set of projects within a business. We saw that come around and become very common in the 80s. And today, each of these models are still relevant and are still in use. But as projects become more complex, impacting wider business functions, integrating with more systems and customers and suppliers, we also see the need for enterprise-level PMOs. So managing standards, processes, methodologies across corporations, being embedded into the strategic decision-making of the business. And more companies strive to achieve best practice, predictable results, and gain efficiency in delivery. And we see more and more organisations introducing and evolving PMOs towards an enterprise model at a degree. So the project management office and its project delivery teams are pivotal in today's business. They are enablers for change and transformation. PMO now provides much more than just administrative tasks and to monitor governance and produce reports. If it's set up and run correctly, the PMO will be aligned to the organisation's strategy, build a roadmap for change that is aligned to the goals of the business. Okay, controlling budgets and targeting changes that drive revenue and saving benefits, and is able to change with the market. Okay, with the market, the products and the regulations that come through.
Yeah.
Using funnel and prioritisation processes, the PMO will maintain change planning ahead of the curve, providing feedback and advice on changes in the funnel, the impacts of changing conditions or priorities that enable consistent enterprise view of the future roadmap across portfolios, channels and intercompany. Okay, so an independent PMO provides the benefit of impartiality. Okay, that's the key thing. In proposing and advising on change. This is also key in the execution of the delivery itself, creating and governing a framework that is right for the industry and right for the business is crucial. Yeah, ensuring that the processes and governance are aligned to the business thirst for risk and reward. Okay.
Yeah.
There's no point having controls so tight that the change and execution stagnates. Neither so loose that the PM and stakeholders are able to interpret different ways of working, creating an inconsistent path of delivery.
Yeah, yeah. So just thinking a little bit more about that then. So what are the sorts of cultural changes that need to take place then in order to adopt that kind of structure?
Yeah, so this is an interesting question, right? Because I've seen, and if you look around, you'll see lots of PMO functions that are set up. They deliver some reporting, they schedule projects, but it is intrinsically not embedded into the organisation, meaning prioritisation is determined outside of PMO's visibility or control. New work is passed without due diligence and planning, and decisions are made without a full view of full transparency of the current landscape. In time, the PMO in that case becomes diminished, and any value that they're adding is eroded. Okay.
Yeah.
So successful PMO needs buy-in from the whole organisation. It should be embedded into decision-making, prioritisation and strategy, as well as its core capability of the transformation and change. Where in the structure PMO sits is also an interesting question. Should PMO sit under the operations, the COO, under IT, or under finance? Yeah, all of which work. And it does depend somewhat on the organisation, its strategy and its goals. A finance-led PMO, for example, is likely to be very budget tight, which ensures the organisation only spends where necessary. But this might stifle innovation in the entrepreneurial spirit. Okay, operations-led PMOs suit manufacturing industries, call centres, and the likes, where the impact of change can have significant effect on productivity, handling times, and SLAs. Okay, this is also true of highly regulated environments too, such as financial organisations. Okay, IT-based PMOs work well where there's a reliance on technical change and expertise, development and infrastructure change for the majority of the projects. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either way, it's important to note that PMO should oversee and be able to report and monitor on changes in all areas of the project, be it business, engineering, IT, staffing, marketing, training, wherever it is. Okay, this way all work streams can remain aligned and changes and milestones are managed appropriately across the project. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's really valuable information, and actually it's going to lead us into the next part of our discussion, which is more about the governance of assurance of programs that are both about to be launched and also also in flight too, and how there's a board level and sort of senior stakeholder engagement as well, which we're going to cover off in part 2. So for now, we'll leave you to think about the topics that we discussed in this episode, and then we'll revisit those in part 2. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you very shortly.
Thank you.